And let's get ready for Helen's introduction. Helen Kennedy, give it up for Helen.
Oh, that was all three of my friends clapping. Thanks, everybody. Welcome to Science in the Park. So glad to be out here again for another year. I am very honored to be here today to introduce your keynote speaker, Fatima Khawaja. I've had the pleasure of knowing Fatima for several years now. She's an alumnus of James Logan High School, and she received several scholarships through our program because of her intellect, her ideas, and her creativity and ambition. So she's now a student at Stanford University, and we're so proud of her. And she is an anti-tobacco advocate. She's a national ambassador on that front. She is also an avid jumping jack enthusiast, and she's currently on the cusp of breaking the world's record for the most jumping jacks in 30 seconds. And if there's a big crowd here at the end, maybe she'll do it for us, okay? While her interests are broadly scattered, she's dedicated to uplifting underprivileged communities, and especially dedicated to sustaining the world's habitability. Fatima is passionate about neuroscience, health, biology, and computer science, but she remains a curious explorer. I was lucky to hear all about Mossaic when she first founded this remarkable project back in high school. Mossaic was recognized with the prestigious Diana Award, an international recognition named in honor of Princess Diana. It's given each year to people, young people, that the panel determines have the power to change the world. So that's who we have here with us today, is a change maker and a person with the capability to be a world leader. She's here today to tell you all about her pet project, Mossaic. Please welcome to the stage Fatima Khawaja, and please give her more applause than you gave me.
Yay! Thank you so much for the kind introduction, Ms. Kennedy. So before I get started, let's break down what we see in this picture. There's some gray rocks, there's a waterfall, there's a growing pool of water, and there's some greenery layered and blanketed and tethered across these gray rocks. And obviously we know it's a universal concept that plants are good for the environment. They absorb carbon dioxide, they emit oxygen, but what are some specific services that moss provides? And why is our organization based solely on the existence of moss? Before I immediately answer that question, I want to provide a glance at some of the most distinguished properties of moss and let you begin answering that question. First, moss is extremely low maintenance, meaning that it requires minimal water. It is also non-invasive, meaning that if you plant moss in an area, it is unlikely that it will spread and disturb other plants. And like other plants, it absorbs CO2 and NO2, which are greenhouse gases. But arguably, one of the most distinguishing factors of moss is that it's able to filter toxic pollutants 0.1 to 10 microns in size. And to put that in perspective, 1 micron is 1/1,000,000th of a meter. And so that lends itself that moss can clean 80% of fine dust and particle in the surrounding air, which is why it makes great indoor and outdoor plants. And finally, even though it is a seemingly annoying shrub, it has great surface area, allowing it to have the capacity of producing oxygen that 3,043 medium-sized houseplants do. So with that, let's connect what we just learned about moss to the practical, the theoretical of how moss is beneficial to the practical of how we are applying this knowledge of moss. Well, first, what we're trying to do is address the shrinking time margin to reverse the exponential climate polarity, meaning in recent years we have witnessed intense storms, droughts and more frequent and prolonged heat waves. And so Mossaic, essentially, a common theme, as you'll see, we're trying to help nature with nature. So obviously moss is a natural resident in nature. So we're trying to use moss to help reverse the effects of climate change. However, not only are we trying to reap the benefits of moss in absorbing CO2 and NO2 and producing oxygen, we're also trying to beautify, enhance, and uplift surrounding environments, as I'll elaborate on further. So let's pause for a second and let me tell you about 2 contributions that Mossaic has had thus far in the past and some of our visions for the future with moss. So in May 2024, I graduated from James Logan. In junior and senior year, my Mossaic team at Logan was able to plant moss in all of the planters across campus. And really all we had to do was place a water globe next to the moss. And with a simple water globe, we were able to sustain the moss. So we did not need anyone regularly watering the moss. And now at my campus at Stanford, I'm working with a makerspace and 2 sustainability clubs to create different structures in which we can tether and wrap moss around to not only enhance the purification systems of plants across campus, but also to beautify and uplift spaces. So finally, to each of you in the audience, if there's one takeaway from this presentation, I want it to be that a simple, viable tool can be a solution to a universal problem. And for me, that initial step really just took curiosity, creativity, and courage. And with that, thank you so much for allowing me to indulge in Moss Talk. And feel free to visit this website and contact me for any further questions, comments, or concerns, or anything in between. Thank you.
Thank you. Yay.